Hello viewers, Kubiando Kith and Kin, I'm SB and welcome back to I Was A Teenage Exocolonist, where today we are finally going to reach the end of this character's story. This series has been a lot longer than I thought it was going to be, and it turns out we're going to extend it even further. There's just a lot going on in this game. I'm actually very impressed by it. So we have 2 more real months and then Glow. And I'm not 100% sure what we want to do with that time. But I do know it is probably time to... I was kind of hoping that there would be, a disruption in the power structure before we had to do this. But I think we're sort of out of time on that one. I think we have to bring forth the Overseer's deal. I should... Let me put on my convincing people jacket. I guess the hop eye is a little bit less... critical. Let me just ape Mars as closely as I possibly can. It gets our persuasion all the way up to 73. All right. Governor Lum is staring into space, but snaps out of it as you enter the room. What is it, colonist? He does nothing. He does absolutely nothing all day. I hate his chest windows so much. I think this piece of costuming is a bad look. And I know it's just like an open shirt. It would look so much better if he didn't have his weird SM harness on. And don't get me wrong, I am not opposed to SM harnesses as articles of clothing. I own several myself. But I just think these things together, this is a bad look. And it's a much more classic look on people with breasts, but I think it still looks bad generally there. And on somebody with no breasts, I think it's especially awful. All right. Tell him about the Overseer's offer or start by telling him about Sim. I don't know that bringing Sim into this is going to make any sense. It's certainly not a thing that I think Lum is going to be responsive to. He's going to have questions for me about why I'm the one who received the offer, and we can maybe explain about Sim there. But I think we just start with the offer itself. Lum rolls his eyes. Sowen, buddy. There is no sentient life on Vertumna. We're it. Whatever you've seen out there, it's not like us. We're the rightful rulers of this planet, he continues. I'm not going to let some old garbage computer program stand between us and our destiny. He clenches his fist. We'll find a way to destroy them. No, okay. I don't know that pressing danger with him is going to make sense, because that's just going to make him want to fight them more. He's not going to listen to this, though. We have to listen to them? Okay, your right sucks, and neither of these is going to work. So much for all my persuasion skills. What is the right path here? Yeah, there's no way we're going to convince him that they are so dangerous that the colony has to back down, right? He would rather die in a blaze of violence. I guess I'll try. We have to listen to them. See, the thing about being governor, Sowen, Lum drawls, is that I don't have to do anything, people tell me. Especially not some strato kid like you. He dismisses you. But he might have a point. Deposing him as governor would solve a lot of problems. You know Mars would be on board. Okay, wait, do I have the ability to try now? No. It feels to me like there must be a way. I wonder if I missed a hook for it somewhere. Maybe you have to start... I was waiting for him being deposed to try to stir stuff up, but maybe I needed to stir stuff up to try to get him deposed. If we're taking a second run at this, it's certainly a thing we can aim for on the second playthrough. But yeah, it doesn't look like I have the ability to approach Mars with that idea, so I guess we just got to do something. How am I going to spend some time? We have one outside area that we haven't checked out. And now that I've approached... Yeah, I think I like that. Now that I've actually approached the governor with the deal, maybe it'll be worth going and talking to Sim. So let's do this. Nearby is the one spot we haven't been to yet, right? Okay. And so we never got to explore the swamp either. That's a thing I'd like to do. I didn't realize that you had to sign up to be a hunter, that there was no way to go to the swamp as a surveyor. So that's also something we can maybe look into on the second playthrough. So let's just run around out here, pick up all the things worth picking up. Is this event anything interesting or special? Oh no, this is right. This is the mushwood thing. Give the mushwood tree a pat. I like the mush trees. It is stressful to pat them. You touch them and they just like, they ripple and wave under your hand like a, how did I miss that bobber fruit? Like a jello mold, and it's deeply unpleasant. Okay, well, I mean, there is a new ending event here at least. Sim, anything? Okay, no, he just says, please tell me you've convinced the humans to accept the Overseer's offer. Well, guess what? I fucking haven't, my dude. Sorry. Okay, well, bad news. Bad news for me. Yeah, this place. You like it cause only you know how to find it. And then we'll just bail out of here. I forgot that this thing existed. So we'll do a 6, 7, 8 with the neighbors all the same color. Oh, that made it a 9. Shoot. Right, because turning stuff red. You get a decent value out of that flush at least. Pardon me. I guess this is fine. A 32 is fine to start with. And then this we want to save to the end. We're so close to being able to build like good straights here. We can gain and then lose some money. I guess that's fine. And also just like nice high values. And then we can really blow this out. So what if that's a 15? Solves the problem by itself. But I literally can't do this, right? Well, no, I could recolor one of the other cards. So let's see. How would I want to do that? I don't know. I think I would just like jam these cards to get that. And then like, yeah, take the blue card and make it red or yellow. I'll make it yellow because gosh, we have enough flowers. There we go. We super goal. I don't even need to do that. I was just throwing away the flower for no reason. All right. Yep, we found our spot as ever. De-stressed, found ourselves some yellow flowers to replace the yellow flowers I spent. Okay, I think it was worth checking. It is unlikely that there's anything we're going to do at this point in the game that's like terribly meaningful. But I am going to keep giving people gifts. We're like really close to maxing you out. I brought you this Xeno egg. Hooray! That's 100. What's up, Nem? You go to the garrison looking for Nem, but she finds you first, pouncing on you and wrapping her arm around your shoulders. Buddy, friendo, pal, she exclaims. Everybody here likes friendo. It's a weird thing. She leans in close, smiling wide with barely contained energy. If I don't do something a little wild, I'm gonna go bonkers, she says, so only you can hear. Everyone's so stressed out, and I feel like... She inhales and bites her lip. I feel like I gotta do something extreme. Like, I want to strip naked and climb to the top of the colony and scream until someone makes me stop. Like I got bugs in my brain. So I got an idea, she continues, and I need you to come with me so I don't cower it out. Nem leads you by the hand down one of the lesser-used hallways of the garrison until you come to a small room. Inside are 2 barber chairs and a table next to some dangerous-looking but delicate machinery. A stout woman with a buzz cut looks up from reading something on her holopad. "What's up, Anemone? Need that side shave freshened up already?" Nem shakes her head and grips your hand tight. "No, I want a tattoo," she says. "Can you do that?" The woman gestures to dismiss her holopad and pulls out a thick book from behind the counter. You and Nem crowd around it, marveling at the sight of real paper as it falls open to display a selection of tattoo designs. Used to be the only thing I'd do here is buzz cuts and military tattoos and hair dye for that Nomi kid, the woman says. But since we landed here, you haven't been the only person who's come looking for something a little more artistic. She smiles. You take a look through this and I'll see what I can do. You and Nem flip through the pages reverently. I was thinking, she says quietly, running her fingers over a circlet of thorns. I want something to remind me that Vertumna is my home and everyone here is my people. To remind me why I fight. She shoots you a smile, uncharacteristically shy. I want something to link me to you, she says, looking away as her cheeks turn red. Out of everyone here, you're the person who means the most to me. Her eyes go wide. No, wait, we should get matching tattoos, she exclaims. Come on, what do you think? I think, for our character, I think that sounds like an awesome idea. Yes, of course. Hell yeah, Nem says, pumping her fist. What should we get? The Strato logo surrounded by knives is pretty rad. Each other's names is cool. I don't know how, I wonder if that would be weird for Tange, is my only concern. Mushrooms growing out of a human skull is also rad. This feels way more like a real-world Samhain thing than an in-game Samhain thing. Suns to represent the twin sons of Vertumna is pretty good. Sword and Shield is like kind of generic and just sort of out of nowhere. Actually, suns to represent the twin sons of Vertumna, and then it creates that that vibe of a binary system between us. I actually really like this one. I think this one's really interesting. Nem slams her hands down on the book of designs. Yeah, hell yeah, she crows. That's perfect. Let's do it. Yeah, okay, yeah, I'm also saying yeah. You sit down in the tattoo chair and bare your right arm. The tattoo artist / barber transfers the design onto your skin and fires up the machine, which buzzes alarmingly. You and Nem look at it wide-eyed. I guess you kids have never seen Earth Tech, huh? She says, preparing the gun. Tattooing's one of the oldest human arts, so there's not too much holograms and replicators can improve on it. The stuff I do here, it reminds us that even when we're out here among the stars, we're still just meat with thoughts. Okay, yeah, I could tough my way through a tattoo. God, I want my own tattoo so badly. I really thought, I don't want to get into a whole story time, but transition, taking control of my body, etc., and then the pandemic, it's been very unfortunate, and I am still uninked to this day, sadly. It smarts a bit when the tattoo artist presses the needle to your skin and begins her work, but you're pretty tough. Nem looks a little green as blood wells up around the needle and grabs your hand. This is so cool, she breathes as the design begins to bloom on your skin. It takes about an hour for the tattoo artist to get down the bold first strokes of your tattoo. Nem holds your hand the whole time. When the artist steps away to stretch, Nem leans in and gasps. Oh, it looks so awesome, Nem says. This is the coolest thing we've ever done. This is galactic. She looks up at you. I meant what I said, she says, her voice a little wet. Oh, that's a very evocative way to describe what's going on here. I like that a lot. You're my best friend on this whole rock. You've always been here for me, and I'll always be here for you, no matter what, thick and thin. Nem sniffles, then looks embarrassed. Man, it's dusty in here. The tattoo artist returns and finishes up your tattoo, then moves on to Nem. She takes it bravely, though she sometimes squeezes your hand so hard it almost hurts. Afterwards, you go back to your room to decompress and admire your bravery. Nem flops onto your bed and you climb on after her, careful of your aching arm and your newly wrapped tattoos. I can't believe we did that, she crows, kicking her legs in the air. That was so awesome. She turns to you and pushes her unruly hair over her shoulder. Thank you for coming with me, she says, seriously. I probably wouldn't have done it if you weren't there, and then I probably would have done something reckless. She laughs, brash and unashamed. Well, even more reckless. I am curious how tattooing would interact with her gene mod thing. Like, is the tattoo going to get weird and scaly? I'm going to say we're best friends. I kind of like the way, I like the arc of things with Nem. I like that we were like very, very close when we were younger. And then she had that traumatic thing happen with her brother getting killed. And I was there and maybe I reminded her of it. And so she kind of pulled away. The Helio kids showed up. She got into this like ugly thing with Vase. But then eventually she's kind of like figuring herself out and getting back on her footing. And finally, something like that never fully goes away. But she's finally like becoming stable, being able to live with it instead of being like driven by it. And she's returning to her oldest friend. And like this story, I think, is very satisfying the way this worked out. We're not going to get smoochy about it, though. Well, of course, we're best friends. Nem smiles toothily at you. We sure are. I think she absolutely would have. But, you know, Tange. I still don't know what our deal is, because we didn't negotiate it clearly enough. Here, I have something. I don't need to. We're good. We're good. I'm good. Thank you. I was just checking in. May as well give gifts for what is probably the last time for a lot of people. 92. We almost made it. Mars, you want to depose the governor? Wait, am I at 100 with you yet? Oh, not even close. All right, like I said, I think we're going to focus on Mars as our Mars is going to be our initial best friend with the next character. Because if we're going to try to like lean into the people convincing arts more, I just think that fits very naturally. And Nomi. Nomi, we don't have maxed out relationship with Nomi, no. May as well keep going. And then I guess there's nothing really to do outside, so we're going to go outside next month. So we're not going to be able to hit any thresholds or anything right now anyway. I guess just grab some engineering points so I can end the game with 100 engineering with my thought thing on, with my brain trainer. Let's just get a bunch of engineering. Engineering and reasoning versus engineering and creativity. Well, yeah, just raw engineering. You help the younger students with their architecture work. And by that you mean you help them scavenge a bag of random spare parts and adhesives from around the colony and challenge them to make the tallest structure possible. When that's predictably a disaster, you tell them to make the most structurally sound one instead. The classic. Did everyone else... Tell me in the comments. Did everyone else have to do that, like, bridge, like make a bridge out of toothpicks and glue thing? I feel like that's like the classic sort of early physical engineering project. Yeah, shoot. It's just because the neighbors, it's because blue cards are increased and I'm turning cards blue. I can't make this into anything, I don't think. Whatever, we'll just, we'll use the multitasking to... If we put it between the 7 and the 8, yeah, we can generate a straight and 2 pairs there. 61's good enough for me. All right, and we're gonna go outside, right? I feel like that's gotta be the thing. Can I influence anyone to come with me or hang out or anything? Glow is the only season Tange likes. That makes sense to me. Let's talk to Mom and Dad one last time. Don't want you too far from the colony if we're attacked. Don't be a hero. Ha, too late. It's interesting that Dad can perceive a little bit that things are weird. Maybe we sort of inherited our gift. Dis, how you feeling, buddy? Full of secrets and danger. I, too, feel full of secrets and danger. Nam is just standing with some soldiers, ready for a thing to occur. I'm going to go shout at the governor one last time if I'm allowed to. Alright, I definitely feel like Lum still being in charge is like a bad end a little bit here. It's fine. We're going to fix it. We're going to fix it on the next run. Let's sneak out and explore Glow. I don't suspect this is going to do anything for us, but I'm going to try. Okay, we do have a word bubble event with Sim at least. Maybe there is still something we can do to like. We have fundamentally just like left the core conflict unresolved here, in a way that's, I have to imagine, going to end very badly, and that makes me real nervous. Oof, I gotta tell you, I feel like I'm sounding a lot closer to normal, but I definitely still feel weird talking for this long. And this is not even that long, really. Hey, Sim. Yep, you know to look for Sim in the hollows of trees now. Yep. Have you come to ask more questions? Hey, what's with that faceless I saw? Ah, Sim says with a gentle smile. Constellation. You've seen her. That's very lucky, you know. Don't ask me how she does it, but she manages to sneak around these woods like a ghost. The faceless weren't exactly designed with subtlety in mind. He lets out an amused puff of laughter. But she's something else now. Don't worry, he continues. You'll only see her around in Glow. She doesn't like the sunlight. And unless you breathe in her spores, she's harmless. You fix him with an incredulous look, and he shrugs. It was quite the upset when she broke away from the hole and went to seed, he replies. But, as you humans say, life, finds a way. Sim stops walking and smiles politely. Well, that's enough for now. The trees have ears, you know. Yeah, shit. Okay. Is this just going to be the encounter with Constellation? Something will happen here, but not yet. Take some photographs. Gain some creativity. It's so beautiful out here. Too bad you can't share these without raising suspicions, because, you know, nobody's allowed out here during this part of the year. If you were hurt and Utopia or the others had to come rescue you and got hurt themselves, well, there are good reasons not to make anyone worry. You'll just have to treasure the memory of this beautiful place. So I don't know that it makes sense for us to have the interaction with Constellation again. I think we just go home and we shall see what occurs. Gosh, I wonder how many points of bravery and especially perception we've actually earned over the course of the game. Do you think we've passed 200 perception? I think there's probably a pretty good chance we have. Knowing the attack is coming, as it always comes in Glow, does nothing to calm your nerves. There's only so long you can handle sheltering in your quarters. As the month draws longer, you find yourself almost compulsively walking the walls when you're not working, scanning the tree line for the first sign of trouble. You're there when you see them. Dark on dark shapes coming out of the forest, perfectly silent. You watch with the lookouts as more and more figures amass at the forest's edge. Minutes pass as the horde pushes into the firebreak, numbering at least, well, it must be in the thousands, more animals than you've ever seen in one place. The ground is choked with a teeming carpet of smaller creatures, darting in and among the legs of... No. Oh no. The forest bends as a faceless emerges from its depths, followed by two more. The mood on the walls is discouraged. One faceless destroyed your colony. Two faceless required an irresponsible number of explosives to take down. How are you supposed to handle three? And wait, there's even more? A familiar being cuts through the horde and stands at the front, like a general leading their army. Gardeners must come in all shapes and sizes, but you know this one from the hatred in their eyes. It's Noctilucent. Noctilucent steps forward. For millennia, I have been tasked with keeping this planet safe from invasive species. Extreme weather, plague, famine, the migration of predators, all tactics I have used to ensure an invasive species cannot find a foothold where they do not belong. Their command of the human language has vastly improved since you last saw them. The gardeners learn quickly. Controlling you by indirect means has proven ineffective, they say, glaring up at the row of horrified colonists atop the walls. I can no longer ignore the destruction you have caused and the threat you represent to the planetary ecosystem. However, Sim steps out of the tree line. I should have put my jacket back on. Shoot. His eyes find yours unerringly across the firebreak. Some gardeners argue that you have the capacity for reason, Noctilucent continues. So, I have come to offer you an alternative. Your unconditional surrender. Noctilucent smirks up at you. Surrender is the correct word, is it not? Something your singular, violent brains can understand? The terms are simple. Humanity will cease reproduction, cease expansion, and in return will be allowed to live out your remaining lifespans within the bounds of your walls. Do you accept? I mean, this is not a very good deal, my dude. Lum steps forward. I'm going to tell you the same thing I told your little double-agent spy, his voice booms out from the wall. You and your bullshit deal can bugger off and keep buggering off until you think you've buggered off so much you just can't bugger off any further. He points at Noctilucent. Then bugger off some more. How did this guy get in charge? This planet belongs to us humans now. It's hard to tell, but you think Noctilucent looks amused? Maybe they were hoping this would be your answer. And, of course, with Lum speaking for the colony, it was inevitable. So be it, they reply, and the attack begins. And I mean, this isn't the outcome I would have wanted, but, we do have to fight, right? I'm certainly not going to let Noctilucent just devour our whole colony. Your species is truly hopeless, Noctilucent snarls. I told them you would never put aside your egos. The wave of attackers rolls over the firebreak, crashing against the walls. Flying creatures scream overhead, and the sound of plasma rifle fire fills the air. Okay, you rush toward the garrison to join the squads. As you run, you notice the colony defenses are mediocre, between 5 and 10. What did they end up... Is that information I have now? I'm just kind of curious what the actual number was. Are there 2 characters I didn't meet? Well, that's curious. I mean, obviously, there's a whole thing with Tammy, but Tammy being around wouldn't... That's very interesting. Yeah, memories... And that's just... Okay, so we don't get to know right now. I wish this told you what the number was. I'm curious how close we were. I guess I can go back and check from an autosave later. As you run, you notice that the colony seems to be holding its own. Nothing has breached the walls yet, and it seems that the tide of monsters emerging from the trees has slowed. The colony looks evenly matched. The battle's not in the bag, but so long as the defenses hold, things look hopeful. You're descending from the walls when you're thrown to the ground by a tremendous rumble. A few meters in front of you, something tunnels toward you through the mud. You have the impression of something long and dark that cuts through the ground like a shark through water. You scramble to your feet, but it cuts off your path, forcing you toward a geoponics outbuilding. It's a storage shed, mostly empty besides bales of hay used as float cow feed. It's dimly lit, but you think you see another door at the far end. The creature advances, throwing up rocks and chunks of dirt as it tunnels closer. And this character is certainly a fighter. It's kind of funny how much this character is a fighter and how well she has done overall, considering how little combat skill we have acquired over the course of the game. All right, 3 rounds to get to 117. That's pretty big. I suppose it doesn't really hurt anything to take the +10 stress at this point, probably. Oh, right, that says card gets +3. That's an awkward value. Hey, here's a question. If I +1 this and make it red, it's going to turn into a 9. That's right. I have to be thoughtful here. Sets neighbors to 6 is really awkward. So if we put this in, it turns red, and we get the big straight bonus here. How can we build something decent? So we've tried stuff like this before, right? If I put this down and then put something in that slot, yeah, the sets neighbors to 6 overwrites the map, the board effect. We have a +3 bonus to pairs. And it's not the end of the world if we just have to take the pair, right? If we take like the 3 of a kind, you know? And then over here, we just put like a big card and just get number. That leaves me with 55 to go. That's pretty harsh, honestly. We can make it. I mean, we can do anything. We have the items necessary to make whatever hand we want work. I'm going to accept this. We're just going to make 55 happen. That is absolutely doable. It is going to be weird, though. The card gets +3, sort of in the middle. Makes getting a straight, like a long straight, extremely unlikely. But it doesn't have to be a long one, necessarily. I'm going to redraw. I just think this hand's kind of crummy. Okay. Wormhole stuff's real good. Sim's Curiosity is pretty weak. It's a pretty weak card in this situation. This buffs up other yellows, so it'll get those all boosted. Yeah, maybe we pass this through just raw numbers. Wait, why did that... Where are you going? So what we probably want to do is, like, put this over here and then play some card that is... Oh, no, sorry, not that. This one. There we go. Just drop a casual 83 on it. No big deal. Hooray, 2 combat points. +1 colony defense for some reason. You grab a rake and back into the doorway to wait for the monster to emerge. As it rears up and thrusts a long black snout out of the ground, you stab the rake down into it, dispatching it. Before you even have time to be relieved, you spot a second one tunneling toward you. You take another step back into the storehouse and feel heat. The building is on fire. Okay, I was kind of wondering about this, Because, like, remember the beginning of the game has that scene where Nem comes and rescues us from a fire? And I thought maybe we had averted that by preventing Dis from setting a bomb last year, but maybe not. I gained a lot of stress. The dry thatch roof quickly ignites and rains flaming debris down on your head, filling the room with toxic smoke. The ashy heat is intense. You can feel it ripping the moisture from your lungs with every breath. You rush for the rear door, but the fire moves so fast. You're trapped as a roof beam collapses in front of you. You hear a cracking noise, then just pain and a noise like a bell, and the world goes dark. Yep, here we are. You wake to chaos, a confusion of light and heat and smoke. Fire. Your head is pounding. Yep, stuff. There's something important you need to remember. This is the text we saw before. Your stomach lurches as the floor crumbles beneath your feet, then collapses. And here's Nem. Why can't you remember her name? She's gesturing and shouting at you, but all you hear is a ringing in your ears, and we climb out. This is totally what I did the first time. You try to stand, but one of your legs folds uselessly underneath you. It won't hold your weight. Your friend pulls you out of the rubble. She throws your arm over her shoulder and half drags you toward the door. And then, yeah, the dog thing's gonna show up, right? Good puppy. Wait, hold on. You remember this from another life. Not a dog, a monster. It's about to end your life and probably Nem's too. She tightens your grip on you. So we can shield Nem. We can have prepared for this earlier. Interesting. I'm going to do animal biology stuff. We could dodge and fight it. Like, what's the thing that makes the most sense for our character? Is it I had the foresight to do some biological science stuff? I do think that makes a lot of sense. Or is it that I just deal with the animal by the seat of our pants? These things, the problem here is these things both fit really well. I think when it comes right down to it, our character is very much just like a seat of your pants, fight it kind of situation. You shout a warning and push Nem to one side as you dive to the other. The beast roars and transforms into a towering horror, a thing that has haunted your dreams for years, but you're ready for it. You realize you've been ready for it your whole life. I wonder how many different skills have ways of handling this, because we didn't get a choice for every skill that we have at 100, and that makes sense. Like, creativity, probably not really suited to the task. But I wonder how many of them give you a way to interact with the thing. You distract the creature by hurling a piece of debris, which it catches in midair and grinds to bits with its powerful jaws. This gives Nem time to get close and zap it with her stun gloves. While the creature is immobilized, you jump in and finish it off with your plas cutter. You emerge from the inferno of the shed, burned and concussed, but alive. Anemone smiles. It's good to be alive. You have your wounds tended in the medbay. Other soldiers there are in much worse shape, but at least the battle is over. It was long and bitter, resulting yet again in the destruction of most of the sawmills and arable land. The defenders managed to repel the Xenos before damage could be done to the inner colony. Or maybe the monsters lost interest before finishing the job. It's as if the planet wants you to suffer, but doesn't actually intend to finish you off. Yet, anyway. But for now, you're just happy you've survived to live another day. And that day is your birthday! By the time you've recovered, the suns have returned. It's your 20th birthday. You're a fully fledged adult now. Though, in many ways, you already were, and have been for a long time. You and your friends step out to greet the new day and start the rest of your life on Vertumna, and the whole gardener situation's completely unresolved, and I have no idea what that's going to portend for the colony in the next year. Presumably, we're going to get some ending text here. You managed to survive to your 20th birthday. Huzzah! I wonder how many ways there are to die. I wonder if it is possible for your character not to make it there. Explorer feels very fitting. This was a focus. It was this or Animal Rancher, really, is what we were aiming for, right? There's a whole planet out there to explore, and you intend to see every corner of it. It's a dangerous planet out there, but also full of endless frontiers and new discoveries to make. I do feel like it makes sense that I don't know about alone, but our quote-unquote survey team would probably be like Dis and Nomi at the very most, so I think this fits. When it's just you and your glider, you're free to go where the wind takes you. You have some wild adventures, and are lucky to always return to the colony with stories to tell. Hey, but wait, what about... Does the war with the gardeners just end, or... Chief Engineer Tangent has a nice ring to it. It always seemed like Tangent's life was laid out for her. Work hard, discover amazing things, and eventually replace Instance as Chief Engineer. However, after only a year on the council, Tangent surprises everyone by stepping down. She says that she simply doesn't have time to run engineering and do her research, but you know the truth. She doesn't want to be used like Instance was. Her brush with genocide made her realize she needed to think more about the repercussions of her actions. Instead, she contents herself with being a regular researcher, quietly pushing the boundaries of medical science and having a hand in every major discovery. She trains up new researchers in every discipline, passing on everything she learned from Instance and everything since. It's an unremarkable life for someone as impossibly promising as Tangent, but she seems happy. She smiles more often, has more time to spend with you, and gets more than enough sleep every night. Hey, she did it! She finally fully defied her biology. You and Tangent continue to date for a while, but ultimately your partnership fizzles out. A dramatic breakup isn't Tangent's style. She does dump you pretty unceremoniously, claiming that she simply doesn't have the attention span to spare romantic entanglements. Her love life remains fairly private, though she's not as frigid as she's always claimed. You hear from the colony gossips that she carries on with a string of casual relationships, mostly with other scientists, mostly women. This makes a huge amount of sense to me. She donates genetic material to a number of children, but doesn't choose to raise any of her own. She's quite picky about their genetic enhancements, obsessing over any markers of anxiety or depression that run in her family. But ultimately her children grow up healthy and in loving families far removed from Tange's own childhood. It's a bittersweet reminder for her. Tangent lives and dies in the shadow of what she almost caused to happen on Vertumna. Knowing that she almost killed every living thing on the planet weighs heavily on her for the rest of her days. Unfortunately, even with genetic alteration, the human body was not made to withstand long periods without sleep, and Tangent's willful negligence in taking care of herself certainly doesn't help. She develops a heart condition in her early 60s that outpaces the healing capacity of the medbeds, and it eventually takes her life. Well, I really liked a version of the story where she finally fully defied her biology, not just her quote-unquote natural biology, but also like the quote-unquote enhancements that were made of her, like the choices made by other people on her behalf. It's a shame that this is how it actually ends up. I wish she had chosen to keep getting sleep. It feels more in line, I think. What about Nem? We're going to get one of these for everybody. I'm assuming that they won't all be as long. We were very closely involved with Tange, and we know a lot about what she went through. Strong and true, Nem sticks by your side, one of your most trusted friends. She may be friendly toward all, but few people really know her like you do. Nem becomes security chief once Rhett retires. Her training in defense means that the attitude of the garrison mellows in later years, and young cadets look up to her with admiration, never fear. Still, defending the colony weighs heavily on her. You watch helplessly as the endless, horrible grind of the yearly attacks takes its toll on her. Okay, so the yearly attacks do keep happening. When she turns to drink to help numb the stress, you're there to support her when she's ready to claw her way back out again. Nem's relationship with Vase may have been brief, but it was formative. She doesn't throw herself into loving anyone that deeply again for a long time, instead focusing on her work. You're by her side during her misadventures in dating some of the other soldiers, and, once, notably, Rex. howling with shared indignity and laughter with every awkward breakup. It's a surprise to everyone that Cal and Nem find each other again, decades after their falling out as teenagers. Actually, that does not surprise me that much. Like I said, the way she was trending sort of like back toward some version of herself that would be recognizable to her younger self, like that trajectory makes this make total sense. And they do make sense together, I think. It's good to see her happy, even if they do still get along like oil and water. I mean, kind of. Like, they're going to bounce off of each other a lot, but they also provide a pretty strong complement to each other, I think. His eternally chill nature is good for her. Nem is ready to lay down her guard, and it just works. Yeah, she probably would have had to have gone through a lot before she was ready to be relaxed enough to be in that place. The colony loses Nem during an attack. She was still so young, as was Calm all those years ago. It's small comfort thinking they may be together again, wherever they are. Well, let's hear about Cal. Your friend Cal grew up, but he never lost his boyish charm. Cal soon rises to the role of chief cultivator. The responsibility of feeding the colony is enormous. Cal isn't good with confrontation or pushing people as hard as your mom famously did. On years when drought or pests threaten the food supply, you often see him looking haggard. He deals with a lot of stress and it ages him quickly, but his kind nature means he never takes it out on other people or wants them to worry about him. He's a lot like your dad that way. Gosh, he is a lot like Dad. It's a surprise to everyone that Cal and Nem find each other again. Again, I don't really think that's that surprising. Cal never gives up on trying to convince people to live in harmony with Vertumna. Though his family is his source of strength, he struggles with the violence that's necessary for the colony to survive here. In his 50s, he's killed while defending geoponics during an attack. You grieve him deeply for many years. Yeah, we've got to figure out a way to stop the attacks. This is my main goal during the next playthrough. And it seems like deposing Lum is the number one most important thing we can do. Your friend Dis keeps on exploring. He never really finds himself on the right side of colony authority, but he's the best surveyor in expeditions. Utopia defends him as best she can. He spends more and more time outside the colony walls, even during Glow when the colony is supposed to be locked down. This earns him some distrust from the more militant factions in the colony. What is he doing out there? Who's he meeting? Utopia's word keeps him out of trouble, but it isn't enough to keep Dis from frequently being hauled in for questioning. Dis grows to resent the colony more and more every year. In his late 20s, he disappears during an unscheduled expedition past the Resting Ridges. Utopia leads the rescue attempt with you by her side. You're worried for him at first, but Utopia seems pretty calm, almost as if she doesn't expect or want to find anything. She reports that he's disappeared without a trace, and it's just the darndest thing. You'll always wonder if he's out there somewhere. I feel like in the end, I don't know, maybe I lost focus on him or something. I feel like I failed to really... I don't know. Symbiosis, the bridge between two peoples. Undying, never aging, ever-patient Sim becomes as much a mystery to you as the rest of the planet. The colony continues to buckle under yearly attacks and unnatural disasters, but Sim never wavers in his passion to learn everything about humanity. Though he remains as cryptic as always, his affection for your species only deepens. In your grief and demoralizing fatigue, you sometimes turn to blaming Sim. Why can't he stop these attacks? Why can't he argue with the gardeners to leave humanity alone? He never holds it against you, no matter how cruel your words. Every time you calm down, he patiently reminds you that his dissenting voice is one of the only reasons humanity hasn't been destroyed outright. Meeting Sim in secret makes you feel horrible sometimes, like you're being torn apart in the middle of this war. You love your friend, but the war takes its toll on your friendship just like it wears down the colony. You visit Sim as your job allows it, but over time you see him less. He doesn't need to come to your rescue anymore. You're an adult now, and you know what you're doing out there in the wilds. Eventually, you stop seeing him at all. You think he might have taken another form. Maybe he's moved on from humans to study some other animal. Or maybe the gardeners have given up on understanding us at all. The attacks only grow stronger every year. Your buddy Rex grows from good boy to good man. That's a little... Alright, it's fine. He continues to work hard on the bar, turning it into the place he always dreamed, where people can come and unwind from a long day, enjoy some libations, dance their butts off, and maybe even find love. He gets a reputation for being a matchmaker. In a small colony, there aren't a lot of romantic options, but Rex has an eye for figuring out who would be a good match together. Giving Rex a kiss for luck becomes a tradition among those looking for love. Yeah, I bet he loves that. And if some people find something a little bit more temporary than love with Rex, well, that's their business. Rex just wants to have fun and he doesn't discriminate. Saying he enjoys a string of lovers implies that he's consecutive in his affections. It's really more like a big puppy pile of lovers. I don't love the lovers thing next to the infantilizing language. Whatever, it's fine, let's just move on. Sometimes when he tells you about his not-so-romantic adventures, you have to beg him to stop just because it's too confusing. Rex insists that it's not complicated at all, and that's kind of true. He's so easygoing that it just seems to work for him. He still loves the idea of having kids and contributes to a few of his own. He keeps up good relationships with his co-parents and spends lots of time with his children. In the colony, there's no stigma against single parenthood, and his children all grow up loving their great dad even if he doesn't live with them. Rex always seems abundantly happy with his lot in life, like crashing on Vertumna was the best thing that ever happened to him. It's remarkable that the Heliopause could have made someone like him, but you're glad it did. He slows down a little as time goes on, mellowing out and becoming more quiet in his self-confidence. He confides in you that his dog genes will probably mean that his life will be shorter than the average human's, but that he wouldn't trade any minute of it. It's interesting that we don't know about his death. I guess that maybe suggests that he outlives us? Ah, the indomitable Marzipan. With Lum in power, there's no shortage of politicking to be done. She remains a political thorn in his side until he's finally replaced with another Helioborn governor, and then does the same for that new one too. When Seek retires, Mars becomes the next chief administrator. It's a great move for her. As chief administrator, she has a voice on the council, as well as a fair bit of power on her own. She's almost more of a pain in the butt than she was before. You watch proudly as she blossoms in the role, becoming the middle manager of everyone's worst nightmares. She confides in you one night over dinner that she thinks she understands why Seek was such a hard-ass. The amount of power she wields is ungodly. We know almost nothing about Seek, and I never really got this impression, again, just because we have so little information in total. As for her love life, Mars is never really one to settle down for the long term. She enjoys a string of lovers. Tangent, Utopia, Rex again, a number of people from the Heliopause. Everybody wants her, nobody can cage her. There were those rumors going around about Tangent Mars, weren't there? Before we started dating Tangent, I believe. She does eventually have one child, just for the novelty. She enjoys being the center of attention while carrying a surrogate pregnancy, but enjoys being the child's wealthy, generous anti-Marzipan even more. I was going to say, I think maybe it's best if she's not actually, like, the raising parent. Mars remains surrounded by as much luxury as one could expect on an exoplanet, and though she complains about wanting more, she never seems anything less than happy about her life. I bet it was very frustrating. I would like to see the story about her being replaced, like about Lum being replaced as administrator by another Helio, because she was second in line for that job, right? So some kind of politicking bullshit must have occurred. I bet she was very angry. Your parents work hard every day to see their pioneer dreams come true. Feeding the colony is a massive job, but they tackle it together. Farming, ranching, analyzing native plants, trying to find a way for humanity to thrive on Vertumna. Every year, their work is hindered by the attacks that seem to target geoponics specifically, but they never give up. The strain ages them prematurely. Your mom dies of a heart attack, too young, and your dad limps forward another decade or so before it claims him, too. They'll always be with you, in the ground you walk on, in the trees that give you shade, and in the cycle of life that sustains you. And, like, more literally than for most people. Your hopeye is a good companion, but you're no replacement for its own species. When a herd of hopeye roam close enough to the colony, you release it back into the wild. And a few years later, you're greeted one morning by a whole litter of hopeye kittens outside your door, and Optimus Prime proudly showing off their family. Aw. Good work, little Optimus. Your Vriki grows from the size of a small dog to the size of a bear, becoming more and more unwieldy and more terrifying to small children. Before the council can force you to do anything about your arachnid octopus friend, Squidcap just disappears. You look everywhere in the colony for it, but your answer comes from outside the wall, a new Vriki nursery tree. Soon, the colony is host to many curious Vriki pups who call your Squidcap home. That's very sweet. And in my later years, the days turn to months, eventually becoming years, and then decades. Before you know it, you're old. Life is tough but rewarding. Vertumna continues to challenge you and your loved ones. The attacks continue every year, getting harder and harder to withstand. And not just that, but droughts, earthquakes, diseases, storms, pestilence, and more. Some years you worry that the colony, and humanity, will be wiped off the map for good. But humans are good at surviving. The adversity strengthens your resolve. You mourn your dead, celebrate your births, and keep adapting to whatever the planet throws at you. This is your home, for better or worse. You do what you can to make it a good one. Eventually, death comes to you, as it does to everyone. In the moment of your death, as your brain cells fizzle out one by one and shut down forever, Grim, a vision swims in your mind's eye. Is that that's me, right? Isn't that me? You would think I would recognize me. They seem so familiar. You feel like you know them so well. Oh, it's you. Only ancient. Her arms are covered with so many data bands, so many lifetimes of knowledge. The ancient you speaks without moving her mouth, not in words, but in something like pictures. Still, you understand. She smiles. We had a good life, don't you think? But there are so many possibilities, and this was only one of them. I think, it's got to be the case that in the end, we have to feel like we could have done, but I have to feel like we had this narrow miss with being able to negotiate something between the gardeners and the colony, due to failures of diplomacy on both sides, and the consequences of that narrow miss end up claiming almost everyone in our life one by one. And so I think the feeling on our deathbed has to be a frustration that we were so close. We were so close to fixing it. There was a girl. We were young together. Tammy with the cotton candy hair. Such a shame to see a life snuffed out so young. She gives you a look, as if to say you were somehow responsible for this. Wait, were you? Could you have saved her? We have a chance to take another path, to change the way our life turned out. She reaches out a hand. Come with me. And I do. And we kind of know the vibe here, right? Okay, so that's about what I thought was going to happen there in terms of the amount of time we would spend just reading ending text. So I'm glad I estimated that appropriately. This game's real good. I like. There are places where the video gaminess of it pokes through, and I want to say the mechanics of it are extremely gamey on the surface, right? You're watching bars go up. You're playing the card game. It's not like it ever gets away from the artifice, but there's places where the artifice is working in aid of the narrative, and there's places where the artifice is sort of grinding against you. But they're remarkably few, the latter, and I think there's a remarkable amount of stuff in here, way more than I was expecting. So we're just going to go ahead and hit the Start Your New Life button, which I think is going to take us back to the the main screen, where we can see some of our friends, our closest, the people to whom we were closest, I think. And I'm going to call the episode right there. That's going to be it for us for today. Thank you all so much for watching. When you come back next time, we're going to start a new life as a new character. We're going to craft a little bit differently. We're going to tack a little bit more in the direction of persuasion and especially empathy. We managed to get through that character. I feel like we behaved empathetically with that character, but we managed to get through with an empathy of like sub 10 or something. I would like to change that a bunch. We'll make friends with Mars. We'll be a little bit more social, and we'll see exactly how different that makes the experience as a whole. That's something I'm always really curious with these games. It's actually not that difficult to make it feel like the player has a lot of agency in the story if you're just a little bit careful with the writing. I'm curious how much agency we actually have. We're going to press against the boundaries of the machine. So come back for that, and we'll see you then.